For years, the heavyweight division was a graveyard for talent. Jon Jones fought once and disappeared. But he held the belt hostage for years. But now, with him gone, the heavyweight throne is finally up for grabs. On October 25th, under the lights of the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane lock horns for the undisputed heavyweight title. This isn't just a title fight, it's a UFC Hall of Famer fight. For Tom Aspinall, it's his first official defense as the undisputed champ after Jon Jones's retirement. And for Ciryl Gane, it's a chance at redemption, a third shot at heavyweight gold, after coming up short against Francis Ngannou and Jon Jones. But before we get into it, make sure to hit that subscribe to Fight Lab World for more updates on the UFC and fight news. Here's a bit of context. At UFC 285 in March 2023, Jon Jones made a stunning heavyweight debut by submitting Ciryl Gane in just over 2 minutes with a guillotine choke. This victory crowned Jones as the undisputed heavyweight champion, marking his dominance as a two-division UFC legend. The win left many shocked as Jones quickly dismantled one of the division's top contenders. After this fight, Jones pretty much hogged the championship belt since he was mostly inactive without ever defending it. Of course, Daddy Dana's lack of due diligence kept the heavyweight division in limbo. Fast forward to 2025, in a shocking state of events, Jones officially retired, vacating the belt and clearing the path for a new era. Tom Aspinall quickly seized that opportunity, capturing the interim title with back-to-back finishes, and then got promoted to champion as Jones stepped away. Now with UFC 321 in line, it's a showdown where Aspinall will defend the undisputed heavyweight crown against Ciryl Gane, the #1 contender for the belt, who's looking for a one-way ticket to redemption at the top. So while Aspinall is the new king, Gane fights to rewrite his legacy and prove he belongs at the top. Let's see what's going to happen with the heavyweight showdown. Here's what is at stake. If Aspinall wins, he cements himself as the new era's true heavyweight king. If Gane ends up winning, he finally sheds the "always the bridesmaid" label and becomes the champion he's always promised to be. Packed with 5 rounds of MMA action, this fight is going to be absolute fireworks. 2 dynamic fighting styles, 2 physicalities, and 2 division veterans. On one hand, we have Tom Aspinall, the juggernaut from Manchester. At just 32 years old, Aspinall has refined the heavyweight division with his fast, explosive, technical, and killer instinct in the octagon. While most heavyweights have had the reputation of being plain, old brawlers with just brute power, he blends his athleticism with fight IQ that has made his rise to the top nothing short of spectacular. In 2023, he became interim champ by knocking out Sergey Pavlovich in just 69 seconds. He followed it up with another KO of Curtis Blades, proving it wasn't a fluke. Statistically, he's a monster. 8.07 significant strikes landed per minute, the highest in UFC heavyweight history, and he spends virtually 0 time on his back. It also doesn't help that Aspinall is built like a tank, yet he moves like a welterweight. He's the nightmare heavyweight everyone hoped would emerge after Ngannou left and Jones retired. Safe to say, he seemed primed and prepped for this fight, and especially for this opponent. On Instagram, he addressed his fans, saying, "This is the 4th time we've been matched up together for the 25th of October in Abu Dhabi. Me, Ciryl, and the 4th attempt is here, and this is Cyryl's 3rd title shot. We are going to try and get rid of Ciryl Gane from the title picture for good." As for Ciryl Bon Gamin Gane, he too is one of the most technically refined heavyweights we've ever seen. At 34, he moves like a middleweight, dances around the octagon with smooth footwork, and throws crisp, clinical strikes that have landed him victories against formidable opponents like Alexander Volkov. Furthermore, he's outclassed Derek Lewis to become the interim champ. He's dismantled Tai Tuivasa, and most recently Sergey Spivak, with one of the most lopsided striking performances in UFC heavyweight history. So, needless to say, there isn't anyone in the division who deserves that title shot against Aspinall. According to Fernan Lopez, Gane's coach, Aspinall has his work cut out for him. Tom has a lot of pressure on him. He's the champion, and with that comes expectations to perform. As for the fight, it's about who handles that pressure better. But here's the catch. Every time Gane's been in a title fight, he's folded. Ngannou out-wrestled him in 2022. Jon Jones submitted him in just 2 minutes in 2023. This fight? This is his 3rd shot, his last shot, and he knows it. On paper, this may seem like the classic hammer versus scalpel matchup. Think about it. There's Aspinall's explosive and power chain wrestling, his ruthless ground and pound. And then there's Gain's smart distance control, precision striking, and footwork that make him look untouchable when he's on his A-game. For once, the heavyweight division has a fight that's both stylistically intriguing and stakes heavy. Of course, Joe Rogan stirred the pot, saying he'd rather see Derek Lewis against Aspinall instead. I mean, who doesn't love the Black Beast? If anything, people would watch the fight just for his post-fight interview. But come on, Rogan. This is the fight that actually makes sense. Here's Fight Lab World's prediction for the fight. But before we get into it, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you'd like more videos like these. Round 1. The bell rings. Aspinall blitzes forward for that aggressive pressure. He doesn't wait or stall. Immediately, he's looking to put some damage on Gain with his heavy body shots and jabs. The Aspinall blueprint. Smother, smash, suffocate. Gain circles, flicking jabs, trying to establish range. But the problem? Aspinall doesn't give you range. He explodes. A level change and boom, a double leg, and within seconds, Gain is flat on the canvas, with Aspinall taking round 1. Round 2 begins. Gain adjusts, pumping up the pace and volume on the jab, uses his teep kicks, looking to land a clean counter as Aspinall closes the gap, getting stuffed on his takedown attempts. The crowd roars, and finally Gain finds his rhythm in the round. But Aspinall? He will probably just bite down on his mouth guard, hard and freaking commit. He just eats a couple of jabs and closes the distance, dragging Gain down again. This time, he chains transitions like a well-oiled machine. Top pressure, raining elbows and suffocating control. The difference is night and day. Aspinall fights like he's got a deadline. Gain fights like he's got forever. This round may as well be split. Round 3. This is where things get interesting. Gain's cardio is world-class. He's practically known for his late-round surges. But Aspinall? He's rarely been pushed this far. The big question, can he keep the pace? Midway through, Gain would look to land a clean knee. Aspinall stumbles for half a second, and that's Gain's window. But before he can capitalize, Aspinall clinches, drags him down, and drowns the spark. Gain finds openings, but Aspinall's raw pressure slams the door shut. By championship rounds 4 and 5, it gets pretty predictable. Gain's battered, bloodied, and on the defensive. Aspinall keeps shooting, keeps grinding. At this point, Gain needs a miracle. And by the last few minutes of round 5, desperation sets in. Gain swings wild and big, but Aspinall times it expertly, shooting and planting him on his back, mauling him until the bell saves Gain. Let's look at some stats to back up why we think Aspinall takes this one. Aspinall averages over 4 knockdowns per 15 minutes, an insane rate for heavyweights. But that's not all. His average of significant strikes per minute is 8, which adds up to 40 plus per round. Gain, on the other hand, is among the most accurate strikers in heavyweight history, landing 60% of his shots. But here's the catch. When taken down, Gain's bottom game is as good as Windows Vista. Slow, clunky, and crashes under pressure. No ability to wrestle up or scramble. Against Ngannou, he was controlled for over 8 minutes. Against Jones, submitted in 2. That paints a bleak picture for the Frenchman. These stats tell you the same story the eye test does. If Gain keeps it standing, he has a shot. If it hits the mat, it's Aspinall's world. If Aspinall wins, he becomes the face of the post-John Jones era. If Gain wins, he's no longer the guy who chokes in title fights. But here's the controversy. Grappling versus striking. Entertainment versus dominance. Fans booed Khabib. They booed GSP. They booed Khamzat. And if Aspinall smothers Gain, you can bet the wrestling is ruining the UFC crowd will go berserk. So here's the real question. Who defines the heavyweight era after John Jones? Is it Tom Aspinall or is it Cyril Gain? We find out October 25th at UFC 321. What do you think? Does Aspinall steamroll his way into history, or does Gain finally conquer his demons? Drop your predictions in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to Fight Lab World for more cinematic breakdowns of the fights that shape UFC history.